Shout out to our sponsor, Blue Apron.
For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes with ingredients and step-by-step instructions that make cooking easy.
Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping when you visit blueapron.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Adam Ellis.
There are some major changes coming to Steam after the company recently made 2 big announcements. One, that it wants to bring back paid mods again, and that it's killing off Steam Greenlight and replacing it with a new system.
Both of these have the potential to change how content is curated on the platform. For modders, it is yet another attempt to ensure that they get paid for their work after a previous attempt fell flat. And for the new version of Greenlight, Steam is replacing the controversial upvoting system while hoping that its updated algorithm will help keep out the crap.
First, let's talk about paying modders. This, of course, is something that Valve has tried in the past, as Adam said, fell a little bit flat. Most recently was 2015 when a paid mod program was rolled out for Skyrim. It was controversial to say the least. Valve received what it called a dump truck of feedback, and the plan was retracted in 4 days.
At the time, Valve apologized, but seemed to leave the door open to revisiting the idea in the future. Valve's Kdin Kroll wrote, "We understand our own games communities pretty well, but stepping into a years-old modding community in Skyrim probably was not the right place to start iterating. We think this made us miss the mark pretty badly, even though we believe there's a useful feature somewhere here."
That last line, "we believe there's a useful feature somewhere here," was a clue that Valve might come back to paying modders at some point, probably on their own games. That's what that all pointed to.
And nearly 2 years later, here we are again with Valve revisiting the idea.
I can't believe, has it actually been 2 years?
Feels like yesterday
doesn't,
that people are
yeah,
pissed.
it feels, well, I mean, to be fair, people are pretty much pissed about something every day. So I guess if it was 2015, depending on how you count it, yeah, it's kind of 2 years-ish, but wow, it doesn't seem like that long.
At a roundtable interview last week, Gabe Newell acknowledged that Steam's first attempt at monetizing modding didn't go so well.
You think? The Skyrim situation was a mess. It was not the right place to launch that specific thing, and we did some sort of ham-handed, stupid things in terms of how we rolled it out, Newell admitted.
I like the term ham-handed.
I like the honesty.
But while responding to a question about the topic from GamesBeat editor Jeff Grubb, Newell talked about the importance of Steam compensating creators for their work, and I agree with that.
I agree too. Newell said that modders create a lot of value, and we think that absolutely they need to be compensated. They're creating value, and the degree to which they're not being accurately compensated is a bug in the system, right? It's just inserting noise into it. You want to have efficient ways so that the people who are actually creating value are the people that money is flowing to.
Gabe didn't give any specifics on what Valve would do differently the second time, but it's pretty clear that Valve considers this a big priority.
Which is good. I mean, honestly, paying modders is a good thing.
It's a lot of work.
And it's always passion projects, because at the moment there are very few revenue streams for modders outside of Patreon, or you can get donations here and there.
Right.
But that really, mods are a great way for developers to come up in the system. And it also helps keep modders modding if they can support themselves. Anyway, speaking of priorities, Valve has a much more immediate one on the horizon, and that's replacing Steam Greenlight. Last week, Valve said that it is finally getting rid of Greenlight, but that leaves a big ol' question. How will smaller developers get their games on the Steam now?
Hand over fat stacks of cash. Not really. Basically, instead of asking Steam users for upvotes, games will be admitted directly onto the Steam store for a price. According to VentureBeat, the change is to take Valve out of the equation when it comes to deciding which games get on Steam.
All right, so the new program, Steam Direct, is intended to be more open and will launch this spring. Any developer will be able to launch a game after filling out some paperwork and then paying a fee. It's that fee thing that's still up in the air. Valve is reportedly talking to a bunch of game makers about how much to charge. It could range anywhere from $200 to $5,000 for a game.
It's a big range.
Well, I get the idea of having some sort of barrier to entry.
Yeah, you need it.
So that you don't have someone putting out 1,000 games just to see what shit sticks. This way they have to put their money where their mouth is to at least get on the marketplace.
Yep, by comparison, the Greenlight program depended on users upvoting new games that would be submitted to Valve for consideration.
But that system was controversial, with good reason, with some developers getting slapped on the wrist by Valve for offering free game keys for upvotes. A bigger problem, though, is that there were just too many people making games, which made curating them a virtual impossibility for Steam.
There was a time when we would get into a room and there would be 400 good games that we wanted to bring to Steam. And we were looking at the tools we had and the bandwidth we had, and we would say, okay, let's pick 10. 2010. Steam business lead Tom Giardino said.
Valve says it still plans to offer DMCA takedown options for games that violate copyright law, and it still wants to deter crappy games, which is one of the reasons the game is considering that per game submission fee and setting it high, possibly high as $5,000.
But while nothing has been decided yet, that high fee to get on Steam has some devs already mad.
Yeah, developer Robert Yang tweeted that a $5,000 fee would basically shut out students and small devs from Steam forever.
Steam Spy also jumped into the debate, saying that a $5,000 fee would destroy development from other countries. Steam Spy also tweeted that of 5,245 games released in Steam on 2016, only around 1,700 made over $15,000.
That's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Alright, so we'll just have to wait and see what number Steam ultimately arrives at, but it's clear that they're moving in the direction of, say, Apple's App Store or the Google Play Android Store, charging everyone a fee and then relying on algorithms to help weed out the junk.
Meanwhile, it's not like Steam is the only company that has problems with crap getting through its filter. Remember Soul Brain Night of Darkness? I do not. That was promoted actively by Sony on the PSN Store, and it turned out to be full of allegedly stolen assets from other games like Skyrim, WoW, and Super Smash Bros. No less.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And bad games, they're gonna make it through. That's just gonna happen. They will make it through any platform. There is a game called Life of Black Tiger that's currently selling on the PSN Store for $10, and I would rather gouge my eyes out than play it. And that's a lot. I like my eyes. Plus, platforms like the Wii, they were notorious for having, well, not rips, not stealing stuff necessarily, but shovelware at the very least. Nobody curates harder than Nintendo.
We'll see what price Steam settles on and whether or not it'll be steep enough to scare off small developers.
I agree there's a lot to balance there. You want to set it high enough that people feel like they need to put out a success. They need to put out a game that people will pay money for, that's worth paying money for. Well, again, which what they brought up before, which was you have to take into account currency exchange rates. Like, what are you going to do for developers in other countries? You don't want to make it so that indies and students can't pay the fee. It's tough. What do you guys think of Steam's new direct program? What do you think Steam should try and pay modders again? What should the price be to get onto Steam these days? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your news of modders, indie gaming, Steam drama, be sure to like this video and subscribe to The Know.
Thanks to Blue Apron for sponsoring this update.
Blue Apron helps you become a wonderkin in the kitchen. They offer new recipes for you to try every week with no weekly commitments, so you get deliveries when you want them.
Yeah, and every meal comes with a step-by-step recipe card, all the highest quality ingredients you need. You can make your meal in 40 minutes or less.
You can check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping when you visit blueapron.com/theknow.
I actually looked up the menu for this week. There are some really nice ones. One of the ones for this week is it's a lamb, beef, and mushroom stew. Oh my god, I'm a sucker for stews in general,
stews and lamb
soups
and mushrooms,
all those
yum.
things. So I actually might try that one out because I did it and there's like a nom nom nom.
There's also an udon noodle soup too,
really
seared
good.
Chicken and pearl couscous, tempura fried cod. I wouldn't think to try making those on my own, or but but with the instructions and the ingredients, count me in.